Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario. We're back over at our good old friend here, the PSP, and with several videos that I have covered showing how to modify and how to use a modified PSP, something that not only I've been interested in, but many other people have been interested in, has been trying to use cheats on their PSP games. You can not only use cheats on PSP games, but you can even use them on PS1 games as well, so you can have a lot more fun once you're running custom firmware and with a few plugins on the system itself. However, like I said, a lot of people have been interested in getting this set up, so I'm going to show you in this video, if you're using the ARK-4 custom firmware, how you can set up cheats on here using TempAR. Now, some people might be wondering why use TempAR over CWCheat, and if you want to use CWCheat, it's not going to cover it in this video, that's fine, but in short, it seems to be that from what I've seen, TempAR seems to be the better option, and it is also backwards compatible with CWCheat files. So that's why in this video, I'm going to be showing this with TempAR. However, in order to do this, you're going to need a few things. First of all, you will need your PSP up and running and working, and you're also going to need a way to access the storage on here, and recommended to use a computer because we're going to have to download an archive and extract it and set up a few things there. So you'll need, of course, that computer and your PSP with the ARK-4 custom firmware. If you need to upgrade to the ARK-4 custom firmware, I do have videos showing how to do that. And although you can use older custom firmwares with TempAR, ARK-4 is the more modern and recommended one, and with the specific way I'm going to show how to install it here, it's going to be directly through ARK-4. Now, fun fact, this can even work on the PSTV or even the PS Vita if you are using Adrenaline with ARK-4 on it like I'm using right here. However, this is still going to be gauged for the PSP, and I'll have a little bit of a step there just clarifying that if you're on a PSTV or you're using a PS Vita. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take our storage from our PSP and connect it to our computer. You can either use an adapter to adapt your memory stick, or from here, take a USB cable, go to USB connection, and hook it up to your computer. The first thing we're going to need is, of course, TempAR from Rain G3. Go down below in the description of this video to the GitHub repository, and from here, there's not all too much to it, but you'll need to navigate over to the releases section, and then from here, download the latest version of TempAR. At the time of recording this, it is 1.6.4, and it's going to be in a tar GZ format. I'm going to show you all how to extract that, but just download it and save it somewhere you can easily find it. The next thing you're going to need here is some cheats, and although TempAR does have some cheats built into its database, there's going to be a large database right here, which has been maintained by GitHub user Sarah McGreen. I'm going to have this linked down below in the description as well, and even if you cannot read any of this here, I'll show you how to get this. You want to come over to the GitHub repository page and click on this file here, which says cheat.db. Once you click on it, you're going to come to a page like this. You'll need to click on the three dots here for more file actions, and then click on download. And download and save the cheat.db file somewhere you can easily find it. Lastly, if you do not know how to extract a tarball, the best thing for this is going to be 7-zip. Go ahead, download, install this, and you should be good. Now, I've downloaded mine to my desktop here, but there should only be two files, the TempAR file as well as the cheat database. We don't need to worry about the cheat database just yet, but go ahead and grab your TempAR file. You're going to have to right-click this, use something like 7-zip, and first of all, you're going to have to extract it here. Now, when you extract it here, it's going to give you a tar file. You need to extract this one more time. So right-click, use 7-zip, and this time extract it into the TempAR folder. Now that you have this extracted out, you can open it, and you should have docs, PC, as well as SE plugins. Let's close out of here, and just to clean it up a little bit, I'm going to delete both archive files, since we're not going to need them. So there we go, you have your cheat database, and you have the TempAR folder. What we can do is actually merge this cheat database in. Go ahead, right-click, cut it. Now go into the TempAR folder, go into the SE plugins folder, go into the TempAR folder yet again, right-click and paste this. It should be next to the cheat.bin files as well as your PRX files. And there we go, we've now set up TempAR. Now we need to copy this over. Again, within the TempAR folder, go into the SE plugins folder, grab that TempAR folder, and right-click and copy this folder. Now navigate over to your drives, make sure you have your PSP's drive hooked up, go into the drive itself, and from here in the root of the directory, you're going to need to make a SE plugins folder if you do not have one already. Once you see your drives, navigate into your PSP's drive, and in the root of the drive itself, you need to copy that TempAR folder into a SE plugins folder. If you do not have one, you can right click, just create a new folder and call it SE plugins, all one word, all lowercase. Once you create that, navigate into the SE plugins folder, right click, and paste. Once everything's copied over, it should look like that. Like I said, go to your PSP's drive. Inside the drive, go to the SE plugins folder, and the TempAR folder should be right there with everything you've copied over. With all that copied over, congratulations, you've now done half the install. At this point, you can go ahead, eject your PSP's drive, and then navigate back over to the system. Now, real quick, if you're doing this on a PS TV, a Vita TV, or even a PlayStation Vita, again, I'm going to be doing this through ARK-4 on here. I've done a video showing how to set this up. But if you want to copy everything over, you're going to have to do this through Vita shell itself. Now, if you've modified your Vita before, you should be familiar with copying files over, so I'm not going to go directly into that, but you can press the start button here, make sure your memory card is the USB device selected if that's what you're using. Then if you're using a PlayStation Vita, you could set it to either USB or FTP, depending on what you're using. If you are using a PlayStation TV or a Vita TV, you're going to have to go through FTP. And of course, in order to enable that, you can just press the select button and it will either turn on your FTP server or your USB connection. If you need to know where to transfer these over, it's going to be in the UX0 partition. And down here, it's going to be within the PSP MU folder. And it's going to be the SE plugins folder, which you can just make if you don't have one. And then TempAR is going to be transferred over right there. Now, once you have everything copied over at your PSP's XMB, navigate over to the extras column. And if you're using a PSP Street by chance, you're not going to have this column. You're going to need to navigate to the game column, and the options are going to be up above here, just beyond game sharing. However, since I'm not using a PSP Street, mine show up in the extras column. Navigate down to the custom launcher and open it. Now when the custom launcher opens up, tap the triangle button and navigate over to files and then tap the X button. Once you're in here, go down to the SE plugins folder and enter that. Now go down to the TempAR folder and enter that. Now when you're in the TempAR folder, you're going to need to scroll all the way to the bottom here, and there's going to be two PRX files that you need to set up. The first one here is going to be tempar.prx. Make sure it is highlighted, tap the X button on here or your equivalent enter button, and then set this up for game. Highlight game and tap the X button. The plugin should be installed now. Next, you need to go down to TempAR Lite and do the same thing, except it's going to be a slightly different option. Tap the X button here and set TempAR Lite to POPs PS1. Once you do that, it should be all set up. So from here, we should be good. At this point, you can hit the triangle button, go all the way out to exit, and at this point, you can go ahead, exit. Now, once you come back over to the XMB, navigate over to extras, go over to the plugins manager and look for your new plugins. Down here, you should see TempAR set to game and enabled, and you should find TempAR Lite set to PS1 and enabled. With those two done, congratulations, you have now set up TempAR. So your cheat engine is all ready to go. We can now exit out of here, and I'm going to show you how to cheat in a few games. Now for our first game here, this is going to be a PSP game, and this here is Daxter. Now I am going to warn you as a heads up that not all games are going to have cheats available. Additionally, if you've ever messed with cheats like this, you might have run into this before, but not only not all games will have cheats available, but a lot of these cheats are also going to be dependent on the region of the game as well as even the version of the game itself. So even if a game does have cheats, it might not be compatible with your specific version of the game or your specific region of the game. Additionally, some of these cheats just flat out might not work with your game, others could end up crashing. So I had to do a little bit of experimenting here, but for my own testing, I had games that worked and I also had games which did not work. This is an example of a game which does work, however. Now, once you're in game, you should have the plugin loaded, but in order to actually bring up the cheat menu, you have to press the home button or the PlayStation button. You have to press the home button and the right trigger at the same time. Now, when you do that here, you're going to bring up a menu like this. And while this might not be the prettiest looking menu here, we do have this up and running. So just to run through this real quick here, some of the entries like this one where it says controller cheats or widescreen hacks or general cheat, or even like this one, how to use change display, a lot of these here don't really look the best because of the formatting on this database, unfortunately, but those ones are comments. So for example, if you enable general cheat, it's not going to do anything, but the ones you're going to enable would be, for example, like 999 metal bug gems, free roam on, infinite spray, and you're going to have to play around with a few of these because even some of them, for example, infinite health and infinite health v2 are a thing. So one of them might work and the other one might not. But you can use the X button to enable or disable a cheat. For example, if I wanted infinite health, you can enable it from there. If you want to turn it off, you can do that yet again. And if you want to set this to always be on, you can press the square button and it will turn blue like that. I'm going to go ahead and control this though. I would also recommend having the game pause here. So what you can do is use the triggers to search through the different tabs. One of them is a searcher. If you want to look for and set up your own cheats, you can do that. You can also go over to the PRX and the top option, pause game. I would recommend setting that to true, so that way whenever you bring this up, it will pause the game. And the decoder here is for actually poking through memory in real time and being able to edit there if you so choose. This guide's not going to cover that, but if you want to dive into that, that's going to be up to you. And of course, coming over here, we do have some nice credits with modifications by Rain G3, based on MK Ultra by Red Hate, and Night PR by Sanic, and a few other wonderful references here. Now, the final important piece of information here, and this one is really important, is actually activating the cheat. For example, if I close out of here, you all saw that I had the infinite health cheat enabled, but let's say I run up to one of these characters here. There we go. See, I do not have infinite health, so we need to enable that. To do that, like I said, you need to press home and the right trigger at the same time. And then once you bring that up here, you need to activate the cheat. If you look in the top right, it says cheats off. Now, if you're using a PSP, you want to look for the note button on the system itself, and that's going to be your toggle key. If you press it, you can enable cheats, and if you press it again, you can disable cheats. So that's going to be your trigger. Now, if you need to remap that, let's say it doesn't work, or let's say you're using something such as what I'm doing here, I'm using a PSTV, you can navigate over to PRX, go down, and you're going to have to go to the option of change trigger key. Now go ahead, highlight this, activate it, and it's going to say press and hold buttons to assign them to the feature. And from here, you can map it to another button. So I'm going to go ahead and map that, and now that it's mapped, check it out, I can enable that. Let's go ahead, exit out of here, and let's try to run up to one of these enemies. And if this happens here, check this out. Well, alright, this is actually a good example. You could see my character died, so that means that version 1 is not going to work. And I'm going to have to try another one. Now, to my recollection here, this one was not working for me. This one kind of worked, but not so much. Like, it looked like aesthetically it worked, but didn't actually do it. I believe this one here, Infinite Health, was the one that worked. So, like you're seeing here, you are going to have to play around with this a bit. So now that we've activated Infinite Health, let's go ahead, run through here. Let me run up to one of these bad guys. All right, let's see. Now I'm going to attack. Let me just let him attack me. And I'll sit here for a few seconds, let him attack. It's at the point where it's like, even if you look in the top left, did I really tire this guy out? Wow. Okay, point being here, I can hit the start button and you can see in the top left corner, my health is all the way up. But let me see if I can get attacked here again just to show you all that this is working. I don't even know if this guy's going to attack me anymore. Apparently he doesn't want to. I'm going to probably have to run up to someone. Oh, well, almost. There we go. Okay, but you can see I'm getting attacked here like crazy. And just from playing this from experience, I know if I get attacked at least by now I should have died. By now I should have died at this point. So you all can see right here, I'm just getting attacked mercilessly and I have infinite health. So congratulations, if you're going to be playing Daxter, this one does at least work. You might just have to play around with the cheats a bit though. Just to show you all, another one that does work is Luxor Pharaoh's Challenge. So I just made a new save here because I didn't have any saves on this system, and let's go ahead and just start from the beginning here. So we can check this out. You all might have played this before, but yeah, you got to match up these colors and all that, and then shoot, and there we go. So we just do the same thing as before. You can press the PlayStation button and the right trigger all at once. Now navigate over to PRX and set that pause game to true. And if you change your trigger key before, you're just going to have to do that again from here. So let me go ahead and set up my trigger key. So just to make something obvious, I'm going to run the always fireball. So I've turned that on. Now I'm going to hit my trigger. My cheats are on. Now I can exit out of here and check this out. You all saw I did not have a fireball before, but now I can do that. And I can kind of just infinitely spam this, and we got this working pretty well, thankfully. Can I finish up from here? Let's see. Okay, so there we go. We were able to get that. Even if I want to change this around, let's see. I will disable Fireball. Let's try Lightning Ball and check it out. You all can see that this ended up changing right there. So there we go. We have another example of this working successfully. Now, I did say before that this works for PSP games, and that should be obvious enough since we are on a PSP. But this can also work for PS1 games as well. Let's go ahead and use one of the greatest ones, Final Fantasy VII, and I'll show you how this works. Alright, now you all know how this works, and if you haven't played this before, I guess I'll show you the first sequence here. So this time, I don't have any cheats enabled, but let's go ahead and just go through the first battle so you can see a before and after. So right here, this is how it should work by standard. Let's go ahead and get an attack in. So he's down, and after a few seconds, we should be able to attack, and then attack the second guy here. Okay, he's going to attack me first. So, you know what, easy enough for the beginning of the game here, but you all see how the UI looks, how this is working, all that fun stuff. Awesome. Level up. Alright, take everything, wonderful. Now, if you want to activate this in-game, you can just do the same thing as before. Now, unfortunately for the rest of the PS1 section here, I was not able to get it to work directly on my PS TV, so that means we're not going to have a direct capture here. However, I had it set up the exact same way on a standard PSP 2000, and you can see right here, I was able to activate cheats, I was able to get them working, and you can see how the battles are different on here. This is the same copy of the game, this is still the same revision of ARK-4, but it seems like, to me at least, there's probably a bit of an incompatibility with using that button combination with POPs or the PS1 emulator over here on the Vita side of house or the PS TV. But you can see right here, if you're running this on a standard PSP, this seems to work just fine. So getting back to it all, that is about it for this video. Hopefully you all were able to now set up TempAR, get it showing over here in your plugins manager, and now even with the TempAR plugin showing up, hopefully you were able to actually make use of it, utilize it, and start having some fun with some games, PSP and PS1 included. Either way, that is about it for this video here. Hopefully it helped out. Hopefully some of you all might finally be able to run cheats. I know this is something that a lot of people have struggled setting up with, and I'm included in that as well too. I've tried setting this up years ago myself, and I was having difficulty with CWCheat, so I just had to sit down one day, try out TempAR, and I was able to kind of figure out what worked, what didn't, and show you all some of the results on that. So hopefully you all can have some fun with this now too. Anyways, that's about it for this video here. This is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated, and if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too.